And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to Michael Yonker for a look at Adventist history.
This week, we hear about the ministry of Uriah Smith and a publishing house in Indonesia.
This week in Adventist history, we look back on the early publishing work, and in particular on one of its most important figures. Sadly, on March 6, 1903, the Adventist Church lost one of its most prominent figures, the indelible Uriah Smith, in Battle Creek, Michigan. His work will be forever imprinted, quite literally, as a longtime editor of the Review and Herald and the author of some of our most important books, such as Daniel and the Revelation, which has been reprinted numerous times. Overall, he dedicated over 50 years of his life in service to the Seventh-day Adventist cause. Born in West Wilton, New Hampshire, he was impressed in childhood by the Advent movement of 1843-44. Though it may have taken away some outdoor ambitions he may have had, when about 13 years of age, because of an infection, his left leg was amputated above the knee. But he took this loss and turned it into gain for his passion for reading and writing. About the end of 1852, he became a Sabbath-keeping Adventist. His first contribution to SDA literature was a 35,000-word poem entitled The Warning Voice of Time and Prophecy. It was being published as a serial in the Review and Herald in 1853 when he joined his sister Annie as a worker at the office of the Advent Review and Sabbath Herald in Rochester, New York. In 1855, the Review and Herald moved to Battle Creek, Michigan, and that same year, when Smith was just 23 years of age, his name appeared for the first time as editor. He maintained an almost unbroken connection with the institution until the time of his passing in 1903. Also this week, concerning the publishing work, it was on March 10, 1920, that the Indonesia publishing house, Persitakan Advent Indonesia, was dedicated in Singapore. After the Dutch government in 1911 had declined to grant permission for the Adventist Church to do missionary work in Sukabumi, the first press was moved to Jakarta. It was later sold and moved to Singapore. Following that, it was moved again in 1929 to Bandung, Java, where it remains today. Publications are issued in the Indonesian language, and it continues operation today under the West and East Indonesia Unions. That is This Week in Adventist History.